Welcome to the Hadera Iron Partnership Together podcast. Our partnership connects communities from the Hadera Iron region in Israel with 9 Jewish communities across the southeastern United States and the Czech Republic, planting seeds of connection that grow into lasting, meaningful relationships. This episode is produced within the L2G Local to Global program, with guests sharing personal stories and experiences, celebrating our differences while exploring the unifying foundations that build family-like bonds.
Hello, my name is Paige Wajsman from Jacksonville, Florida.
And I'm Sigal, Lavan from Moshav Maor, Israel.
Welcome to the Partnership Together Hadera Aaron podcast. Today we are discussing the infinite ways to be Jewish in the diaspora and Israel. We'll hear from incredible guests who will share their unique professional and personal experiences, shedding light on the diverse ways we maintain and celebrate our Jewishness and how our shared Jewish identity unites us all. I would like to introduce our first guest, which is Hazzan Jesse Holzer. And he is the cantor at the Jacksonville Jewish Center, which is a conservative synagogue in Jacksonville, Florida. And he has been with us for an amazing, he just finished his 17th year at the center. So I will let him talk about himself and his bio and credentials, and then we'll get into some questions.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Paige. Yes, I have been the cantor, the Hazzan at the Jacksonville Jewish Center for 17 years. I moved to Jacksonville from New York City, where I was a student in undergrad and graduate school for 8 years. And so I looked for something a little slower than New York City, and I found Jacksonville, which is a beautiful, beautiful community. We have warm, the Southern hospitality that many in the United States know, where people greet you so warmly throughout the community, but especially in the Jewish community. And our mascot of our baseball team is called the Jumbo Shrimp. And I know this is a Jewish podcast, but I feel like that's the perfect way to describe Jacksonville, Jumbo Shrimp. The idea of we are a big city, we have a lot of resources and wonderful cultural options throughout our city. And we're also a very Hamish and down-to-earth community. And I serve the conservative synagogue, Masorti, for those in Israel. Traditional, yet finding this balance, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, finding this balance of tradition, but also changing with modernity. So, Paige, what do we got going on today?
Well, thank you, Haz. And as you mentioned, you have just finished 17 years at the Jacksonville Jewish Center, all of which I have very happily and fortunate to have watched him all of these years. So I wanted to ask you, what are some examples of how you have evolved in your position there? Some of the things that came to my mind that you could elaborate on would be music through COVID, Kabbalat Shabbat, your musical plays that you have added your spark to.
So, of course, many of our worlds are totally different than they were It's amazing to think 5 years ago was how long this pandemic took place, and to think about ways in which we had to pivot pretty quickly throughout the world, and especially in the Jewish world. And many of my colleagues, Chazanim around the country, had to find ways to make music and spiritual moments accessible. And so I created a Facebook Live really right off the bat in March of 2020. And to think about ways of making things accessible, not just to people in Jacksonville, but really the world. And every Tuesday we would do for a year and a half, I did a healing service where we did Tehillim, we did recited Psalms. And Friday night became this place where I brought in contemporary melodies to make the Friday night service very accessible. Even if you had never been to a Kabbalat Shabbat service before, we would bring in melodies from our tradition, but also finding ways in which we can bring in Billy Joel and Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan and Indigo Girls, all kinds of songs that people hear outside of synagogue, finding ways to make them part of the synagogue experience. And then, of course, thinking of ways to bring physically bring Judaism outside the walls of the synagogue. We would do around the high holidays, we would blow shofar. Jacksonville is the largest city in the United States by landmass. And so we made sure that every day that first year, we would go and blow shofar throughout the city. And I mean, really throughout the city. We would go to the beach. We would go to the golf course. We would go downtown. We would go to all these different communities, and people would socially distance themselves, but we would blow shofar, and then we'd have that moment of bringing in that moment of the high holidays and the sounding of the shofar. I still, to this day, one of the things that I've worked on in terms of this idea of public space Judaism, I don't know if we have this in Israel, but we have inflatables that people put on their lawns, often for Christmas and for other holidays. And so a few years ago, I said, why not Hanukkah? Why not during the darkest time of year to bring a lot of light and levity to the Hanukkah holiday and to that whole time of year where things can get pretty dark. And so I have over 30 Hanukkah inflatables. We have a moose that's dressed up like a menorah. We have a Dinaka, a dinosaur that looks like a menorah. And so it's one of those things that my kids love to see in our own lawn, but the whole community drives by every day. And those are the kind of experiences that, as a Hazan, I obviously am in synagogue and I'm chanting the service, and that's part of what I do, but also this idea of bringing Jewish joy to other places throughout the community, and of course, in a virtual sense as well. And so even today, we every Friday night, you can come join us on Facebook Live or on Zoom. And really, I have people all over the world. My sister lives in California. She joins us pretty much every Friday night. And that's been such a blessing of this modern technology to have that spiritual moment that we can have with our families, even if we're on opposite ends of the world. And even these kind of moments of creating a Zoom conversation where it's just the afternoon here in Jacksonville and it's evening time in Israel. So those are just a few of the things we've worked on in terms of bringing some Jewish joy, being proud of your Jewish experience as something that we should continue to share with the next generation.
Thank you, Haz. And I can speak to everything that he said. And it's one of the reasons that I brought him on today. What I just wanted to say is that somebody who grew up Reform, but is now really culturally Jewish and married to an Israeli and deep into Israeli culture as well, him adding this extra touch of familiar songs from growing up and these musicals has made it more comfortable for me to be in a conservative synagogue, if that makes sense, because the conservative synagogue that I came from is just exactly that. It is, there's no extra added to it. And I think I could speak, before he added what he wanted to for COVID and we had no choices and stuff, we were not videoing bar and bat mitzvahs. He was not putting on Facebook, so he's done a good job evolving that. And I can say, I'm sure he'll confirm that the attendance of Friday night services is increased simply because if you count the people that are now online. And so that by itself just gives us more a sense of community. Our synagogue is also, along with our rabbis, are very involved in the interfaith community here, and they do a wonderful job of being together. Could you talk a little bit about that, Haz?
Yeah, so I serve in another hat of mine is the interfaith world, and that's there's a group called iCare, which is a social justice organization, and in Hebrew, we call it Rodfei Tzedek, those who pursue justice. This idea of more than just charity and social action projects. It's really thinking about ways in which the interfaith community, meaning Christians, Muslims, Hindu, Baha'i, all different faiths, can find that common idea of Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha. You should love your neighbor as yourself. And how do we make sure that our neighbor is taken care of here in Jacksonville. So that's the justice organization we're a part of. We, from the progressive side of our clergy leadership, we've all signed on over the last 10 years to legislation within our city to expand our what's called the Human Rights Ordinance, and we work with other faith organizations to make sure that everyone in our community, and that includes everyone LGBTQ included, is included in the rights that they are afforded to here in Jacksonville. And that was, again, another way of working with interfaith community. And the last organization we've worked with is called, there's two actually, the Interfaith Center and One Jax, and both talk about curiosity, that rather than saying, I don't know who you are and that scares me, let's say, I don't know who you are and let me understand where you're coming from. Teach me about your traditions. And we've hosted a Ramadan iftar, the meal that breaks the fast of Ramadan. We've hosted for a number of years at our synagogue. Even last year, where the timing worked out, we did a Passover, so kosher for Passover iftar dinner with over 100, almost 200 people in attendance, breaking bread and just getting to know each other. And these are important conversations, especially post October 7th, to find those, we find the common humanity of supporting each other. And, again, thinking about today as we're recording, thinking about Idan Alexander returning to his family. And that's always something that we're thinking about and holding that space as well.
So we've spoken about what you've done at the Jacksonville Jewish Center and also what you do for our community. And now I'd like to ask you specifically, what are some ways that you and your family live Jewishly, and how does it differ from others in our community?
We keep Shabbat and we keep kashrut. We walk to synagogue. And after synagogue, one of the great things we do is we just have Shabbat play dates. That's our thing. Friday night is a little late for our kids. I have a 12, 9, and almost 6-year-old tomorrow. So Friday night, having people over our home is not our story yet, God willing. But Shabbat afternoon, coming to the pool. Not everyone swims on Shabbat, but we have during May, June into the summer, we have play dates to come over. We play board games, and we really make that Shabbat bubble. My kids go off to summer camp, and they speak of this bubble where everyone is doing Shabbat together. And it just makes sense. Everyone is keeping kashrut together, and it just makes sense because you're living in that bubble. So as much as we can create that experience for Shabbat, that's really important for us. When it comes to kashrut, we have a kosher home, so everything that comes into our home is kosher. But when we do eat at restaurants, we do eat what's known as hot dairy, and what that affords us is an opportunity to break bread with congregants, to bump into people. I wear my kippah wherever I go, which is a testament to the community of Jacksonville itself, but also the Jewish community. And so when people see my kippah, they go, "Oh, hey, Haz, hey, Hazzan, hey, how's it going?" It's wonderful to create that extra sense of community wherever we go.
Thank you. So one of the last questions I have is, and I know that you're in touch all the time with your colleagues from all over the U.S. and those that you went to school with. So in a world that is changing so quickly, how do you see Jewish traditions and values helping to keep families connected across generations? What are some of your meaningful ways that you live Jewishly, and even comparisons that you've heard from your colleagues?
For me, this idea of, I'm part of the conservative movement, right? This idea that it's that my affiliation of my own movement is a movement, right? It moves. As individuals, we also fluctuate. We can see throughout history people moving from one movement and responding to what their parents did. And so they go in one direction. And so maybe they sort of lost the religious side, and then they go the exact extreme opposite in the next generation. So everyone moves around. I think that's something we just kind of forget, that we're not, you don't have to be tied down to a specific movement, and within the movements themselves, they don't have to be tied down to the way it was. And why was it? Oh, because we've always done it. Well, no, actually, we haven't always done it this way. We've always adapted and understood that we are in partnership with modernity. We're not at odds with modern times. We have to have Jewish joy. If you choose to do something or not do something, you should know why it exists and why that tradition might be important. So tradition is important, but how to make that tradition work for modern times, I think is really the key for us to be thriving in this next generation.
Well, thank you, Haz. And I myself have personally benefited from all of the creativity that you have brought to not only our community, but specifically the Jacksonville Jewish Center, and from our friendship, and all you've done for my kids and their bar and bat mitzvahs. So thank you again. I'm going to turn this over to Sigal and our Israeli partners for you guys to take it from here.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to introduce Efrat Hazan. Actually, she's a doctor, Efrat Hazan, and we are living in the same Moshav. Moshav is a village. It's not so small. And Efrat, she's religious, and I'm not. I'm non-religious, but we are friends for many years. And Efrat is a woman, a very meaningful woman in our community. Actually, she connect the community, the religious people and non-religious people, and the young and the elders. She's wonderful, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes. She has 7 children, and her husband was many years in the army. Actually, he was senior officer in the parachute unit in the IDF. And you can start. Introduce yourself and speak about yourself, Efrat.
Hello. Thank you for having me here. I'm Efrat. Like Sigal said, I have 7 children, and my husband was in the army, retired 3 years ago. And I'm 18 years in our Moshav. I'm volunteering in a lot of areas that combine all the Moshav. I have a lot of projects, all volunteer. We have 2 synagogues in our Moshav. One is Temani and the other is Sfaradi. Mine is the Sfaradi, but it contains religious people, not religious people, Masortiim, all of it. It's a special place. Everybody that come there, it's said that it's a lightning. I don't know how to say it. So it's so warm and family. We do a lot of events around the synagogue, events for women and lectures and Seudat Purim, a lot of food near the synagogue. Last January, a friend and I did, we started to work with the elderly. We have the machleva for the oldest people. It didn't work before it. It combined 60s, 70s, 80s, Temanim, the old in the Moshav, the new one, the religious, the not religious. Before we did it, it didn't succeed. And now every Monday and Wednesday, we hear lectures, we have an activities, and we are very happy to be together, the not religious and religious. Also, I have a project called Or Maor. These projects help people that had a crisis, a temporary crisis. It's connected all people. It's not really important if you are religious or not. It's combine all the people that need it. The main help that we give is for a person that somebody died, and we give food to the mourners. Some people came to me or my friend and cooked in our house to bring the friend that they wanted to comfort her. And sometimes they buy things that kosher, and sometimes I explain them how to do it in their own house, and I trust them that they are following the instructions. The important thing is that we live together. The Moshav Maor, we don't have not Jewish people. We have Charedim, we have Masortiim, Chilonim, Datiim. We have all this, and we need to live together. My children went to other people that are not religious, and they know not to eat. Or the families that host them give them somebody kosher for them. So we live together, and we sometimes the main things that I do is connect people. Somebody needs something, and I give them this something by volunteers.
Actually, last year my mother died, and Efrat called me, and I forget about this project about the light in Maor, and I was so excited to hear from you. And she told me, you know that this project, and if you need something to the Shiva, we can arrange it. And I started to cry because I was so excited of this emotional things, and it was really wonderful. And not just the food, she organized the people that can come to our home and prayer every day. Minyan, she doing it because we don't have in the family minyan. So 10 people that with all the books and all the prayer and all the people from the synagogue that Efrat is prayer there came to our home, and it really was wonderful.
The important things that the people ask what they need. She needed people to make prayers, but not all of. We don't force ourselves. It's not from It's not from us. It's what you need. So when I'm so amazed to see all these people, and everybody is a friend of everybody, not related to your opinion. How do you live? My best friends are combined Harediya and not religious, atheistic. We live together. We are friends. It's not an issue. But from this grow a lot of beautiful things. My husband and I responsible for two movements in our Moshav. The one called Oz, and the other is called Bnei Akiva. The Oz is for little children from the first grade, Aleph, and till the third grade. 8, 9, 10, the children, this is the ages. And from all the Moshav is coming to this movement. It's not a religious movement. She prepared you to, if you are going when you are bigger, to Bnei Akiva or Tzofim, and they are very cute, and the children are very small, and they are all together from not religious houses and from religious houses. The beautiful things that it's not important.
Is this something that is done during the week, like after school, or it's still done on Shabbat?
No, it's on Tuesday and Saturday. It's very fun. They are coming. They have a pe'ula activity, but it's not activity. It's called pe'ula. So they are coming. They are playing. There is a message, very universal message, and it's very fun for the children. They are not missing it. So there is a lot of activities and events that for each group in Maor. And the main thing that we live together. And everybody that's coming feel at home, feel family. It's not, it doesn't feel outside. And my husband in the synagogue, he will see that the person that coming for the door, and we'll tell him where to sit. When you're coming to a synagogue, you don't really feel comfortable if you are not every time there. And people are coming one day a year in Yom Kippur. Never mind. It's not important. They are coming. They feel at home. My husband immediately come to read in the Torah and everything. Once even in a person with an Alzheimer came to read in the Torah, and he did a lot of mistakes. Nobody told him nothing. Everybody shake his hand, and my husband repeat it very gently. And people always said, it's so wonderful here. They are very good people. Each people from that I know, even Sigal, she always volunteer. She took our elderly to a trip in Caesarea for free. People want to give. People want to do things for other. After the October 7th, it was amazing to see where we were breakhearted. We needed to have meaning for our life after a shock like this. And people came. What can we do? And after this, people give furniture to people that came from the south or north, and give them electricity. And my job was to arrange the houses that people came for 2 days, 3 days, went. New people came, and all the Moshav, really. I think that the main thing when we built a community, that even you are going out from there, it's continuing.
And this is the another question that I want to ask you about it. In a world that is changing so quickly, how do you see Jewish traditions and values helping to keep families connected across generation? Because you talk about, for example, the Purim Day, you talked about the families that you connect between them and the values. But the generation is changing, and the young is changing. Not all of them wanted to celebrate. Not all the family doing it every day. Not everybody go to the synagogue. So how do you think about it in the other generation after us?
My guideline is that I'm handling only myself, me and my God. I'm a mother that educate my children to be the best of themselves. My daughter, it's from her to God. I only teach them, I show them, and I try to be the best that I can for myself. My mission is to give others, to help others, and to be a good woman, and to do the mitzvot.
But I can assure you that you're doing it well. And in our small community, we feel the energy that you are giving us, not just in your family, because we see it in all kind of groups in our village. The adults, the seniors, the youngs, the families. And I want to ask you about the holidays. What do you think about doing on the holidays in our community all together? I mean, Hanukkah, for example, you talk about Purim or Passover, like in the kibbutzim. Do you think that we can do it together in the same place, for example, like a symbol?
I'm keeping the halacha, so I do it all by the book, my book. So I very encourage to do things together, to eat together. In our synagogue, we do the shofar in the middle of the prayers and after for the people that came after. And there is a lot of opportunity to each person to feel the holidays. In the Moshav, the not religious people are very, very considered the religious people. It's amazing how our Moshav took all the good people everywhere and sit them together. I so love them.
And we love you, Efrat. Thank you so much. This is our last questions for you. And you are really appreciated in our small place in Israel. And I hope that the new generation of me and you will do the same. Celebrate together, live together, love this place. So thank you so much, Efrat.
I will add something about the next generation. My second daughter is working with deaf people. And this Shabbat, she did the Shabbat on a place called Shema. Shema is hearing. She did it with not religious people, with the Chanichim, pupil. And they all did Shabbat together with, most of them are not religious. It's the first time they are doing it. And she learned it at home to go there, to do it. And her friend, the deaf friend, that her best friend, write me, thank you for your daughter about this idea. It's so new to us. And it was amazing. And all of them did it for each other. They took kosher things, and it's a group of people that if you will look at them, it's not connected at all. And they did the Shabbat together, and it was amazing. So this is what
she learned from the best.
Thank you. You are over good.
Okay, thank you so much.
Efrat and Sigal, thank you so much. You are really wonderful. And with everything that you've said and shared, Efrat, I wanted to share a couple of things that I heard. In most American cities, especially here in the Jacksonville Jewish Center, we have two Reform synagogues, a conservative and an Orthodox, and a bunch of Chabad. And what I will share is that Chabad is extremely welcoming, the way that you shared that your Sephardi synagogue is. It's completely non-denominational. They also knock on doors when you move to town. They knock on doors to give shalosh Passover baskets, Purim baskets. And so that's super cool. Regarding the what you do for the school after kids, the young ones, and then they go into the older grades also. Well, we have something called Hebrew school. And I don't know if you would ask a child who's in Hebrew school if they would necessarily call it fun. I definitely know that they do fun things, and they need to. The whole purpose is to learn Hebrew and learn all about our religion so that they can become a bar or bat mitzvah. Some of the kids are already in the Jewish day school, and so they don't need to go to Hebrew school. But also some things that are done, especially at our synagogue, and actually as a community, we have a whole community challah bake every year. And actually that's across the United States. And then our synagogue is baking hamantations and doing everything that they can for different holidays. And they're getting together for that. So, that those are some comparisons. Haz, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I wrote in the chat. It was a beautiful. Thank you we have two chazanim here. I wrote, you lead by example, right? And I think that's such a. You didn't say it, but I think that's what you're talking about. The way that you live your life. You don't have to impose something on someone else. If you live a positive Jewish life, then people will see what a beautiful thing you've created, a beautiful home that you've created, and they want to emulate. They want to be like. They see the joy that you find in Judaism, and they want to copy it. They want to say, how does she do that? Oh, well, she takes a break on Shabbat. Well, maybe I should try that. Maybe I should have a little bit of Shabbat. Maybe she takes off for the Chagim, and she makes meals for people during Shiva. All these points of Jewish life that you find meaning in. You're leading by example. I think that's. We see that throughout the world, but it's wonderful to see that kind of example that you're setting for your community is a great model for how we can, show the beauty that is our Jewish community. And when we find it, not just because you have to, halakha, people think of it as you have to do this because the halacha, they would say in Ashkenaz, but halakha is lalechet, holech. It means to walk. And we talked about the movement, right? That it is a path. It is not a doorway and suddenly you're into Jewish practice. We're always walking towards something, towards God, towards community. And I think if we think of the halacha in that way, rather than you have to, but this is brings you closer to something, to God, to community, to your own connection to our people. I think that's a great model that you've set and that we can all learn from.
I agree. And one other similarity that I wanted to share. So you said you have like non-religious, and you have different services. You have a Sephardi service, and then one that is different as well. Well, one of the things that started at the Jacksonville Jewish Center and is that for the high holidays we have a traditional service, and then we have a alternative service. And so that would be for people that are more comfortable in the non-traditional service. And that's something that makes me very comfortable. It made me very comfortable at the Jacksonville Jewish Center. I actually go to both now because I am comfortable in both. So it's very similar in that way. I don't think that anything really changes from when you're in Israel. And for any Zionists, I think that they would say the same, is that when you're in Israel, it's just special and it just feels different. You guys have to go look really hard to find the non-kosher meat. I mean, you really do. If you want, you got to go out of your way. And so just by that and by the meats and everything being kosher, it is a lot easier, especially in our small Jacksonville Jewish community. We don't, as he said, we only have one kosher restaurant, and the supermarkets do have some meat and chicken, but a lot of people order a lot from South Florida. I do want to say that we are known as a very welcoming Jewish community, that one which you would find by being in Israel. You heard about Haz and how he opens his home, and it's kind of like a kibbutz with the kids running around. And we have a shtetl here, and that happens a lot, very similar to on Shabbat in Israel, which is great. It's very heartwarming.
I think that Judaism, it's not just a religious, it's actually a way of living. And we heard the Hazzan and we heard the Efrat, and I think that this is what is connect between you and your community and our community. It's actually, I feel, when I heard you, that there is a lot of similar things, like the fun that you talk about it, and the Efrat talk about the children and the living together. I think it's the way of living, how to do it. All Jewish by their own way, because there is in Israel and I think in United States all kind of Jewish people. I mean, it's the streams so different, not so different, but different. There is differences, but the similar things is to love each other and to do the mitzvot and to be good people and to actually way of living. This is, for me, is Judaism.
I think we would be remiss if we didn't share with you, at least and I know Hazzan, because he's singing, he's making some songs that have helped me feel better. But first of all, we're not in the diaspora. We are American Zionist Jews. And that poses a problem in and of itself, because you have American Jews and then you have American Jews who are not Zionists. But now with October 7th, we are being compounded, as you are too, about making Jews and Israelis look like horrible people. So I would like to ask you specifically, is it important for us to come together as one Jewish people despite our differences? And how can we do that? Specifically, how can we do that in America? Because I'm really struggling with that.
I feel that if Am Israel is one, we have a lot of power. It's not really important where do you live. The main thing that we are Jewish, and we are Jewish everywhere. The problem is that our enemies, when we don't know that we are Jews, they telling us that we are Jews. If we are Jews, let's be together. It doesn't mind our difference in opinion, the way that we live differently. It doesn't mind. We need to be together. We need to love each other, even though we are not thinking. Haz and I are really not the same. He's conservative, I'm Orthodox, and a lot of differences we have here, but we are one people. One soul, like I said before. It's like Avatar, the tree in Avatar. We are the Jews. Every time I see this movie, this is what I feel, that our hearts are together. The more that we will be together and will not cover that we are Jews, and it's hard to say it from Israel to you. I'm sorry, it's very hard because you are struggling more than us over there. Maybe not more, but in different things. I think that the more that we will know that we are Jews, we love each other, the light in the world, they want us to do it. They want us to be Jews.
I liked your image of the avatar. I was thinking we're branches, right? It's Eitz Chaim. We're the tree of life, right? We all have the same foundation. I think that's a beautiful picture. I visited one I hope to go back soon. I visited Israel in end of November of 2023 was the last time. It was the 1 week of ceasefire was the 1 week that I was in Israel. And so when people ask me, what was it like? I said, whatever it was like, it was a moment it was in Yan Shel Zman. It was a moment in time because there was nothing like it before, and there was nothing like it afterwards with the release of hostages. But we were visiting communities, we visited hospitals, and everyone was thanking us for coming and how dangerous it must be to be in America. And this is during an active war in Israel. This is what all Israelis were telling us, how thankful that we were there, and that that we should have protection. And so I want to flip it also and just say how much our Israeli brothers and sisters have had to hold this idea of Hachnasat Orachim. You've taken to a whole new level, right? Everyone has full-time jobs, all their families, many families with miluim, with reserves. You have family members who are just not there physically for hundreds of days, and taking care of not just your own family, not just your own community, but total strangers, making meals for people and driving people that you've never met before, and just opening up your whole heart. I think that's the narrative, that's the story that I wish our own media in this country and hopefully in the PR of sharing the story from an Israeli perspective to the world. I hope that we would share those stories more. That's the real Israel. That's the real the story that you've been sharing about your own life. That's so many Israelis have had to hold that burden. It is a burden, but it also is a beautiful thing, and that's the story of what Israeli is. It's all these other things that have happened in the media to portray Jews and Israelis in a negative way. We have to flip that story to really show that the amazing, unfortunately, the amazing position that Israelis have been put in, and what you guys have had to do for each other over these last year and a half.
Wow, excited.
And I had a similar experience to Haz in that we went in March of 24 to Israel, specifically to help farmers and to do good service to the IDF that are in the hospitals, etc. My daughter actually wanted to go over spring break, and we did that. And everybody was so appreciative. It was truly unbelievable, as if all we wanted to do was pour into them, and they just couldn't thank us enough. But there is something that is very special that will never, ever, ever leave Israel, and that is the Israeli spirit. Even though they're enduring this terrible war, as Haz said, family members gone for months, the Israeli spirit was still there 6 months later, and it's still there now, because nobody can do anything to hurt the Israeli spirit. And we felt it. We absolutely felt it. Yes, it was very hard to be in hospitals and see this and see what farmers are going through and family members, but the spirit hasn't died.
Your word is so excited.
Thank you. We are very special. People come here not necessarily because they're moved here for work. People come here because of our Jewish community, and then they find work here. I am in real estate here, and I'm very blessed to be able to hear these stories and how, like you said, how at home they feel. People leave sometimes from the military, and then they come back if they were military, and they want to retire here. So it is very special. So I wanted to thank our guests for joining and for sharing, and Efrat, especially wonderful to hear from you. And it's always great to have Haz and his wisdom around. So thank you both very much, and Sigal for all of your help. And thank you to the audience for listening today. We'd like to thank our local Jewish federations and the partnership Together, which is also P2G. It's an initiative of the Jewish Agency for Israel that is made possible through generous gifts to your local Jewish federation. To learn more about P2G, please reach out to your local federation. Thank you.
Thank you.